Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Welcome to India's Most Responsible Companies, a special series that puts the spotlight on those enterprises that are thinking beyond the bottom line. These are companies that are contributing in some form to the socio-economic development of India. Today, our focus is on DBS Bank India, that's supporting many social enterprises which are in turn benefiting those who are at the bottom of the pyramid. DBS, a leading financial services group headquartered in Singapore, constantly strives to enhance the banking experience for its customers. But beyond business, DBS also keeps alive its legacy of starting out as a development bank by championing social entrepreneurship in different parts of India. It recognizes and supports promising social sector startups from different verticals that are transforming lives through unique ideas, and also engages its employees in giving back to society and making a positive impact. And to tell us more about the CSR and sustainability initiatives at DBS Bank India, we are now joined by its CEO, Surojit Shom. Surojit, welcome to India's Most Responsible Companies.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let me first begin by asking you, what really is the CSR and sustainability philosophy here at DBS Bank?
So, if you know the history of DBS Bank, you know the full form of DBS Bank before it changed its name was Development Bank of Singapore, very closely associated with the 50 years of DBS journey, is quite closely linked with Singapore's journey itself. Right. So, at the core of DBS's philosophy is, building the country that Singapore is today. So clearly you can see the purpose, social purpose was very much fundamental to the setting up of DBS as a bank, and hence it kind of naturally flows into what we do today. So sustainability is a very core DNA for the bank.
Right. And you endorse and catalyze the growth of social enterprises in India. Why social enterprises in the first place, and how do you really choose them?
So social enterprises, because we believe that grants per se can only go so much. Right. What you really need to do is to make things sustainable, which means whatever you put in must create the momentum which then is taken forward by these enterprises. So what we are really trying to do is to spark ideas and be able to make them self-sustained. And that's why social enterprises, in fact, we worked with social enterprises over the last 7-8 years, including starting with social entrepreneurs, where we were working with for 5 years. We tried to get social entrepreneurs to get to scale. Now we are working with scalable social enterprises, which can then take ideas and solve problems, but on a sustainable basis.
You're supporting Help Us Green from Kanpur, a social enterprise. What really made you choose this particular venture, and how has your joining forces with this enterprise really impacted it and increased its potential, so to say? So
it's actually a very interesting social enterprise and entrepreneurs, because we bring a lot of flowers to temples, but we forget what is to be done with them. And to be able to recycle them and then make good use of them is an end-to-end solution of what is essentially a big wastage problem. And then it provides employment and ability for women to work in that. And more than 10,000 tons of flowers have been processed. And what we now do is the products that they make, we try and bring them back and then use them in what we give to customers and then link them to markets. So that's really what we have been able to do, give them ability to scale and then evacuate their products both to our customers but to a broader market.
Right. And the DBS Foundation was launched in 2014. What was the idea with which it was launched? How has it evolved over the last couple of years?
So, DBS foundation was kind of a celebration of 50 years of Singapore itself, because almost at the same time as we launched the foundation, Singapore completed 50 years, and soon after that DBS completed 50 years. So it was a culmination, if you will, of celebrating that. It's been very successful the way we look at it. We've looked at more than 30,000 social enterprises who we have touched in some form or shape, who have either submitted proposals. So every year we get a large number of proposals, and over this period we've done close to $5 million of grants and support to social entrepreneurs, and we work with 300 plus social entrepreneurs and enabled them to then scale up.
Right. And how do you really choose these social enterprises? What are the parameters on which a social enterprise is chosen? And once chosen, how are you helping it scale up? Is it mentorship, funding, of course, as you spoke about?
So we obviously work with partners who help us narrow down the social entrepreneurs. So we have a program where we get applications from various social entrepreneurs and enterprises. Then we work with some of our own staff who form the, if you will, the panel, who work with these social entrepreneurs to evaluate them, both in terms of sustainability, but also in terms of how well they run, whether they have the capability to scale up. Right. So we have few parameters, both in terms of their management, but also what impact they can have going forward. And then not only do we provide them with financial resources, we also have a mentorship by, currently we have 50 plus senior employees of DBS around the world who are actively mentoring social entrepreneurs, and some of the ones that we are working with today.
Right. So till what stage do you handhold them?
We have a program formally between 18 to 24 months where we try and help them to get to the next stage. Right. But if you've seen some of the social entrepreneurs, we are now working with them for 5, 6, 7 years, where it becomes a bit of a symbiotic relationship. They may or may not require our money, but they definitely benefit from the association that we have with them, either in terms of participating. For example, we have the Sparks series where we've done a set of programs where some of these social entrepreneurs have actually then worked with us and formed solutions that then we've taken to our customers in terms of a messaging, whether it is replacing plastic or providing sustainable solutions like the flower disposal. We've worked with them over a long period of time. So there is no defined period where we say this is it, we won't work, but the formal program is 18-24 months. That's when we provide mentorship, and then they kind of become large enough to sustain it themselves, and that's really the objective.
Green Soul from Mumbai, another enterprise that you're supporting. What made you choose this one? And it's quite a unique idea, I would say, that to recycle used footwear and then make footwear for underprivileged people. It
is quite unique because if you see the end product, you wouldn't realize where they started. And I think when you see the clip, it tells you what started as effectively something that people generally throw away. We created a product which then has value, and there are a lot of people who need footwear. So in a sustainability perspective, this is probably the perfect example of what is waste to then end up being something that's really usable, and usable in a funky and stylish manner. So I think that's the reason why it caught our attention, and we find it to be one of the more interesting projects that we have associated with.
This is Shreyans. He wears footwear. He even makes footwear. This is a barefoot child. Here are 2. Here's a million. It's a disease. Shreyans disapproves. He hates problems.
See, hate is too strong a word.
Okay, he's a problem solver.
Oh, okay.
This is Green Soul, co-founded by Ramesh, this guy, along with this guy. Yep.
I think the number of people that they're reaching today is a multiple of what they had when we started. And we think now they are clearly on their own. They don't need our support anymore. And that, to my mind, is the best example of being able to create impact, is when they, if you will, take wings on their own and can fly without the support of a partner like us.
Now, at different stages of scaling up, how do DBS Bank's services get integrated with the chosen social enterprises? For instance, your banking products or procurement from social enterprises. What sort of services do you try to integrate with them?
So our overall sustainability program kind of has different elements to it. One is our own business, because our business is quite central to society, correct? Banking is in a way, so we practice responsible banking in what we do, what we finance. So that's one vertical, if you will.
Right.
Then, as you said, our procurement, our business practices are sustainable. What we buy, who we buy from, how do we bring some of the social entrepreneurs as well as social enterprises that we work with to work with our customers, so help them to link to customers. And then finally being impactful, as we talked about, in providing support for social entrepreneurs to get to market. So all three elements are part of our broader strategy, or three pillars, if you will, of what we are trying to achieve.
And would you say that the bank has also significantly gained in terms of business practices?
Yeah, so we have a
enterprises?
social, which I missed talking about. We've created a, if you will, a set of banking services which are specially, targeted towards the social entrepreneurs, both in terms of providing a package which is suitable to them, but also at terms which is, I would say, special for them.
Right.
And we have now close to 600 social entrepreneur companies and entrepreneurs who bank with us across our different markets, and they are the best examples of what has been our success.
All right, on that note, let's head into a quick break. On the other side, we will continue to explore why DBS Bank is one of India's most responsible companies. Stay with us. Welcome back to India's most responsible companies. On the show today, we are exploring DBS Bank India, and I'm in conversation with the CEO of the bank, Surojit Shom. Surojit, we were talking about the various social enterprises you've supported, and one of those is Even Cargo from New Delhi. Tell us a little bit about this venture, what caught your fancy, and why, and how has it impacted the enterprise?
Last year, we started, or we evaluated working with Social Alpha, which is part of the Tata Trusts, where they work with a broad platform of social entrepreneurs and enterprises. And we chose three social entrepreneurs and social enterprises to work with, and Even Cargo was one of them,
Right.
Which is really providing gender diversity, but also employment opportunities for women.
Right.
And I think this is a great example of that, where you are bringing people to come into the workforce from underprivileged women, and then providing them livelihood to create value for themselves, but also value for the businesses that they work with. The association is still relatively new.
Right.
We started it earlier this year, and over the next 18-24 months, we'll work with them, and hopefully we'll help them go to the next level. That's the plan.
We have been able to train over 180 women till now, and 105 women have got dignified employment, and we have also been able to create asset for over 35 women. So on an average, a woman who is working as delivery associate with Even Cargo earns anywhere between 12 to 15,000 working part-time for say 4 to 6 hours in a day. I want Even Cargo to be an organization which is driven by women, where jobs are not decided on the basis of gender.
On the advocacy front, both internally and externally for DBS Bank, what are some of the most impactful initiatives that you take? Also, what are some of the collaborations that you have externally that really make this program successful? And internally, how do you motivate employees to sort of join hands with you?
So let's talk about internally first. We have a very interesting program which we created about 2 years back, where we actually encourage our employees to take 2 days off at the expense of the bank and volunteer for whatever they want to volunteer for. So we try and get 60 to 70 to 80% of our staff to take that 1 to 2 days off and provide volunteer, either in terms of mentorship to social enterprises, but could be something that they are doing themselves in their
Right.
private time. They can take.
Doesn't have to be your
Doesn't have
bank
to be one of them,
social
but
enterprise.
we also provide, if you will, platforms. So either departments or businesses then work with one of our social entrepreneurs,
Right.
or with other areas where large groups of people can go and volunteer. So that's a big part of, if you will, bringing our employees to provide volunteership. The other is the mentorship program. Wherever we're working with social entrepreneurs, we have, for example, 2 years back when we celebrated our 50 years, we had 50 social entrepreneurs from our 6 core markets who we selected, and we provided them support. And out of India, we had 11. And for each of those, we had one senior management committee member. I worked with one of those enterprises, my colleagues worked with them, and we had teams who were people who volunteered time on their own, and worked with each of these to bring them to the next level, either in terms of providing IT support, financial planning, or finance support. So that's how we bring the employees to come into what we are trying to do, and that itself creates, if you will, a broader engagement. The other area that we do is our Sparks program. So we are into our second series, and many of the short films that we do are actually around the sustainability agenda. So in the first series we had 10. 9 and 10 actually were based on India, and we had Sachin Tendulkar work with us, where we lit or provided lighting to grounds for children to play in. And as a part of that, we obviously made the film, but we also lit a school ground in Mumbai, which Sachin then kindly came and inaugurated. So again, not only did we create advocacy in the broader communication sense, we actually created brick and mortar, if you will, solution to provide lighting to a ground in Mumbai where people can come and now play at night, which was actually quite well received.
Wonderful. And what are your current CSR investments like? How have they grown over the last couple of years? And where would you like to take them for the next year?
Yeah, so in reality, we always spent more than the 2% that is mandatory. In fact, actually, we started well before the 2% mandatory limit came up. Even in years where we were restructuring some of our books, we did not make enough profit, but we still spend well beyond that, because we really think that the mandatory limit is a nice guidance, but the broader program continues everywhere. So we think we'll continue to invest both from the foundation, but also from the balance sheet of the bank, and as well from volunteering from employees, to have a broader program to continue to work with our social entrepreneurs.
Do you think this whole suggestion of making it a criminal act if you don't invest X amount of money is a tad much?
Yeah, I don't have a personal view on it, but I would prefer that companies and businesses do it on their own. They should be doing, and I think many companies, if not most companies, do it on their own. And hence, it would be nice for companies to be doing it of their own volition, which I think mostly they do.
Mostly they are. Right. So Sampoorn Earth is another social enterprise that manages your waste here in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about this enterprise and how has it gained from your social enterprise support system?
I think the best way to explain it is we did a very nice short film which we put on our website, where the young team which made this social entrepreneurship real was that how they brought people who were I would say marginalized employees or marginalized people into creating a solution to then take waste and create a business model out of it. So you have waste, which is a problem, you have unemployment, which is a problem, and then you need to kind of put them all together. And I think Sampoorn Earth did that very well. So we are actually quite proud not only to have worked with them, but now to in fact be their customer.
Yes, great. Yeah. So finally, what is your long-term CSR vision for DBS Bank in India? What would you like to do that you're not doing already?
So I think, as we have defined for ourselves, is that businesses today need to have purpose which is well beyond just profitability, because there are a lot of problems around us, and as a bank, as a development bank to start with, we're very closely involved with society itself, initially in Singapore, but in all the markets that we operate in. So we think that businesses need to have the broader and higher purpose.
Right.
And we would continue to want to be a bank which not only has leadership position in our core business, but also be able to give back and build something where we are connected back to society. And you're seeing that today among CEOs. Very recently you saw leading global CEOs for the first time talk about the fact that shareholders were not the only stakeholders.
Yeah.
Companies and businesses need to exist to meet a broader set of stakeholder needs. And I think that's what we would like to believe. As a bank, we'd like to be a bank which is not only good in what it does, but is actually for a better world. So that would be our real objective.
Great. We wish you all the very best for that. Thank you very much for being with us
Thank you.
on the show today. With that, it's a wrap of this episode of India's Most Responsible Companies. We'll be back next time with yet another inspiring corporate citizen that's doing business with a heart. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.